Yeah, my name is Danny Hynes. I'm an 11-time world champion of air hockey. I reside in Texas in the United States, and I've been doing this for oh goodness since really 1994, and still plan on playing really till my body tells me I can't do it anymore. And hopefully that's many years to come, many decades to come. But yeah, that's what I'm all about.
Est-ce que tu lui demandais quelle était l'origine de sa passion pour le air hockey?
Does your passion for air hockey comes from?
So it's that's a great question. My passion for air hockey, it started off just kind of a replacement for, when I came out of school, I wanted to be, a football player or, baseball player, soccer player, anything but, you don't think of air hockey. But, unfortunately for 99% of our population, we can't be that elite athlete that can run the fastest or jump the furthest or be the tallest or the strongest or anything along those lines. Air hockey was a way for me to kind of feed that competitive nature that I have. And it's just kind of an outlet that I found at a very young age, that allowed me to compete at the highest levels. And it's kind of a beautiful thing in all reality, because regardless of your height, your size, your weight, your speed, your gender, how old you are, how young you are, it really doesn't matter if you can reach the table. So we have kids, 12, 13 years old, they're tall enough, they're big enough to reach the table, they can play at the highest levels. Air hockey's been able to do that. Now for me now, my passion's kind of changed, because I was always wanting to be the best, when you first get into a sport.
Yeah.
But once you actually have that success, you end up where your passion's really, you want the sport to grow, you want to fuel the sport and pass on what you've learned to the next generation, so they can be better than what you ever thought about being. Teach a lot. I still play.
Okay.
I still play as competitive as I can be. But every opportunity, guys that are even close to beating me, I will absolutely tell them everything I know, because I've always been a firm believer that you want to beat the best to be the best. And if I have knowledge and I'm able to beat somebody purely on my knowledge, that's not enough for me. I want to let them know everything I know and still be able to beat them on the table, so that way I can, feel like I've accomplished something. Because if I just happen to know something that they don't, that's kind of a disadvantage on their part. So it's not necessarily a good thing. So if they know everything I know and we're on the same page and I'm still able to beat them, and if they beat me, that's great. That's even better, because now I know I have to get better, and it's a challenge to myself. It's a never-ending cycle.
Comment, au cours de son parcours, de ses exploits, comment il a fait pour gérer le stress des compétitions?
Okay. How did you do to handle during your career stress of competitions and everything? How did you do?
Well, dealing with the stress of competition, everybody handles it differently. Oh gosh, there's so many stories that I have of, where you're able to physically play extremely well and be as good as anybody on the table, but the mental barrier that it takes to actually kind of, believe, what, it's kind of like, we saw in certain, Super Bowl teams or something along those lines. They ask themselves the question, why not now? Why not me? And it's kind of a mental barrier that you're trying to overcome. And that mental barrier is, I can win. I can be the best. I deserve this. And you have to overcome that, because if you're playing somebody who they may already have 10 world championships and you don't have any, and you're playing that person, in the back of your mind, you're sitting there, there's no way I should be able to beat this guy. It's impossible. But it's not the case. In all reality, the only thing that really exists is that puck. That's it. The person on the other side really doesn't matter. It's really, you're playing that puck. You're not physically touching that other person. So the puck is the only thing that exists. And once you realize that, the sky's the limit. It doesn't matter who you play. Now, granted, yes, different players attack you differently, and they have different weaknesses, but that's true in any sport.
Du coup, à travers ces rencontres, qu'est-ce qui lui il a appris sur l'être humain?
What did you learn about human being meeting so many people? Are there things that you learned in relations with people?
Absolutely. So I had the pleasure, not long after I started winning, this is when Coke Zero was being introduced up in Canada. So I had the pleasure of going and playing in what they called was the world's largest air hockey tournament in Toronto, Canada. So Toronto was going to be the flagship for Coke Zero in Canada. Well, I went there and I got to meet a Hall of Fame NHL player, Darryl Sittler is his name. So Darryl Sittler and I actually had a discussion because I noticed all these people just coming up to him, and they're wanting his autograph, and they're just in tears, because they're meeting this guy. And, they tell you, like I remember this one gentleman, he's like, I used to watch you with my dad, and now just seeing you just brings back the memories of my dad. And you realize, when you're playing the sport, your focus is the game. Your focus is, I gotta make this shot, or I gotta block this shot, whatever it is. But you don't realize a bigger picture. And so one thing I've learned is there's a bigger picture, is the people that you affect that are watching the game or that are outside the game. And, that's really the best part of it. Once you kind of come to that realization, I mean, it's eye-opening. And I remember, Mr. Sittler just kind of looking at me and say, yeah, you have no idea the effect you actually have on people until later on. And then it's like, wow. And that really makes you feel like you did something, a lot greater than just play a game. So you actually had an effect on people's lives. And that's very emotional. It's very touching, to be able to have that opportunity.
Justement, est-ce qu'il y aura un message pour les jeunes qui veulent réaliser leurs rêves?
Do you have any message or advice to young people who want to realize their dream?
Absolutely. It's so cliche, but it's so true. Just whatever that dream is, I mean, you go for it. You don't take no. It could be, I mean, you think about it. I mean, even like for me growing up, I didn't think I wanted to be some, an air hockey world champion, because I mean, air hockey is not a mainstream sport. A lot of people don't even think of it as a sport. But I can assure you that, it is. And when I found that out and I just started falling in love with this passion, you just follow it in life and you just never know where it leads. I mean, here I am talking to you guys, right? You're in Paris, France.
Yes.
I've never talked to anybody from Paris. So hello to France. But, it's just it's a beautiful thing. But you follow that passion and you don't accept failure. You accept lessons. So if you have failures, learn from them and become better the next time. So allow those lessons to improve improve you as a player, as an individual. And that goes for anything in life. It doesn't matter if we're talking about a sport or we're just talking about business or whatever it is. But that's really the reality of it. And that's what I've learned.
Aujourd'hui, j'imagine, il a fait plusieurs choses. Est-ce qu'il a un projet de cœur qu'il aimerait mettre en place?
Is there any project today that is important to you, something important to your heart now that you want to talk about?
Well, so one thing, and I'm not sure if in the month of October here in the United States is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And that's very near and dear to my heart because my wife last year was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer, and she's surviving it and she's beating it, which I'm happy to say. But, you know, again, you know, these same lessons apply, you know, for, you know, no matter what the challenge is, you can beat these things. You know, that's the beauty of life. That's the beauty of the human spirit. And, you know, it's a matter of mind over matter, because literally, you know, we have no other choice but to fight. If you don't fight, you know, the other things being 6 foot under, we don't want that. So, you know, it's a daily thing, but definitely, you know, breast cancer is definitely very close to my heart. You know, the awareness of it. I would love it if we can, you know, overcome this disease altogether. You know, it's a big fight. It's a big challenge. So, you know, for any of the youth out there that wants to be a doctor, my hat's off to you, because that is going to be an amazing accomplishment by whoever actually figures out how to defeat cancer. And you know, that's yeah, I look forward to that day. I really do.
Justement, est-ce qu'il y a il aimerait remercier des personnes qui ont fait de lui ce qu'il est en termes de valeur?
Yes. Are there people who are important to you, who helped you become who you are, and that you would like to thank, or just to say it?
Absolutely. You know, the sport has many people that have made it what it is, and hopefully that'll make it, you know, what it will be in the future. For my own career, you know, I can't help but think, you know, people like Brian Acrocco, who, without him, there probably wouldn't be many tournaments going on at all. He's kind of been the rock, the foundation for air hockey for many moons, you know, really decades. You have people like Phil Arnold, who and Mark Robbins, that have made such tremendous contributions to the sport when it comes to creating rules, designing tables. Like Mark Robbins, he has gold standard tables. I don't know how many tables y'all have in France, but that's like the best table out there. So, you know, and he owns that company, and he literally is so passionate about the sport of air hockey. That is why he owns the company. So, and it's all about getting quality tables out there that can actually handle professional level play. So we have, like I said, so many different players that have contributed. You know, as for like Tim Wiseman, he's a 10-time world champion. You know, I looked up to him coming up when I was starting to play, and he was dominant in the late 80s and early 90s. Jesse Dowdy, 11-time world champion, who taught me so much. I could never repay that man. But he was one of the original dominant, well, actually, he was the original dominant champion. He won 11 world championships, and he started back in '78. And, you know, he still could go up there and probably finish top 10. I wouldn't doubt it. It wouldn't surprise me. And Tim, he could probably win another one if he really just found the time and put his mind to it. You know, these guys are amazing competitors. They made me what I am as an air hockey player, and helped me in life. You have other players, you know, who I started playing with. Ehab Shukri, you know, born in New York, but he's Egyptian descent. But you know, he and I are best friends on the table, best friends in life. You know, it's amazing, because literally we both started. He's won 2 world championships, and he probably would have won a whole lot more, but some, you know, fatter, bald-headed guy kind of got in his way. But you know, like I said, Ehab is another great individual. We have Billy Stubbs, Davis Lee, Will Upchurch, all these guys that you know, I was able to play at the highest levels. And sometimes they would beat me. And like I said, those are opportunities to learn, to get better. And, you know, every one of my losses, I appreciate that. just as much as I do my victories. And, you know, like I said, it's just a remarkable thing. And it's a, you know, like I said, the beauty of air hockey, it's everybody can play. Our current world champion is named Colin Cummings. I know he's a senior at Baylor University here in Texas. He won his first one. I think he was 16 years old. And he's so fast and fluid on the table. It's a beautiful thing to watch. So I definitely recommend getting video of Colin Cummings. But an excellent young man, great representative of the sport, you know, and the future's in great hands with him. So I look forward to more and more air hockey and trying to play him and trying to beat him, you know, like in the past. I mean, I still want to win, but I also want the best level of air hockey, whether that's from me or from someone else, not even Colin, who knows? Somebody else could come along, which would be wonderful. You know, we'd love to have someone from France actually win. So that would be wonderful. But yes, there's just so many numerous people that actually affected my career and still do today.
Pour finir, est-ce qu'il aurait une anecdote qu'il a lui-même touché, marqué? Il en a plusieurs, j'imagine, mais une seule.
Do you have a story or something that happened that you want to talk about?
Sure. During competition, well, so I'll say this, you know, you're talking about like really highly competitive, you know, matches and whatnot. I've been on the positive and negatives of, like I said, many battles. I will say in 1998 was one of my favorite years. In 98, I finished master for the first time, and master in our sport is when you finish in the top 10. Well, coming that year was the first year that a gentleman named José Mora, another big guy that, you know, I love him to death. He's from Venezuela. And José Mora came into our sport in 95, where he finished 5th. But in 98, he came back and he actually finished first. And this is the first of 3 in a row that he won. So he won 3 world championships in a row. And that first tournament in 98, he and I got to play, and I only got 2 games out of 7. So it's a best of 7, and he beat me 4 games to 2. But I was the only American to actually even take a game off of him. That's how amazing that he was playing at the time. So that's a great story. You know, another one of the Venezuelans, it's a tough one, is his name is Pedro Otero. So Pedro Otero, he and I actually here just recently, we played a match, and I was up 3-0, and he actually came back and beat me 4-0. And which doesn't happen too often in the sport. And again, it's a true testament to how good this person is. Pedro is an amazing player, again, from Venezuela. And I know he's resided in Spain as well. So just so you know, but so the next time he and I were going to play, a couple years later, he kind of came up to me because I think he was feeling confident, and he told me that he had never been beaten 4-0 by an American player before. And I told him, well, that's good. And we played, and I beat him 4-0. But he said he regretted telling me that.